Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us on the first day of your weekend. It's now time for our daily English edition at 6 p.m. A former Minister of Work and Social Issues was arrested yesterday at the order of the prosecution. Mr. Spiro Ksera is accused of dereliction of duty involving some fictitious activities that were organized back in 2013. The prosecution says that the damage to the state budget was 3 million new lek. The investigation was launched by the Tirana prosecution shortly after charges made by the state supreme audit. The SSA says that the former minister, in cooperation with the former director of the cabinet and some other former officials, embezzled money from the state. The prosecution says that money was allocated to certain activities and that payments for those activities were recorded. However, the activities themselves never took place. The former minister was arrested in his home village of Dervican in Gjirokastra. After being held by the Gjirokastra police for some hours, Ksera was transferred to the Tirana Police Department at about 4 this morning. In a media statement, the police announced that they executed an arrest order issued by the prosecution for the former minister and for several officials of his ministry. 3 former officials have been arrested and 3 more are still wanted. In addition to the charges of the SSA, there is another lawsuit pending against Mr. Ksera, which was filed by Mayor Veliai when he was still the Minister of Social Welfare. Contacted by Aura News, Ksera's defense lawyer has denied any connection between his client and the phony procedures discovered by the SSA. He claims that these activities were the responsibility of a technical staff and that Mr. Ksera only signed the papers, when the lawyer claims that the former minister was never questioned after the SSA lawsuit. The Democratic Party has reacted to the arrest of Spiro Ksera, who was the Minister of Work and Social Issues during the Democratic Party governance. In a media statement, the Secretary General Arben Ristani said that the Democratic Party will not stand in the way of the investigation. He said, "We encourage fair and objective investigations without the influence of politics. The Democratic Party supports and encourages every investigation and act of justice in the fight against corruption. We consider the fight against corruption to be vital for the country. Regarding the arrest of Mr. Ksera, the Democratic Party asks the prosecution to act with professionalism, implementing only the law, especially at a time when the government and the most corrupt prime minister in the Balkans need to shift the attention away from their own massive theft from the customs and tax directories," said Mr. Ristani. According to data recently published by the State Supreme Audit, cases of fraud and abuse in the past 4 years have cost the state €1 billion. The SSA has made a summary of the audits they have conducted and reports that they filed 527 lawsuits between 2012 and 2015. The biggest damage was caused by the sector sale and lease of state properties, with an estimated €733.4 million in fraud and embezzlement. The damage caused by financial irregularity and violations in the category of income and expenses comes to €919.9 million. The damage caused by violations of financial discipline amounts to €257.7 million. The SSA reports that 174 audits have been conducted in the last 12 months, and out of these, 158 have been completed. The damage in the sector sale and lease of state assets is estimated to be €733.4 million, and according to the report, the largest portion of this comes from the CEZ issue, at $470 million. The SSA has demanded the establishment of an ad hoc commission to calculate the damage. After suspicions and doubt were expressed about these numbers, the report also indicates that evasion and smuggling have caused a considerable amount of loss. In taxation, the damage is estimated to be €92 million, and in customs, €31 million. In procurement, the damage is estimated to be €19 million. According to the State Supreme Audit, the biggest damage in this category comes from the procurement sector, with 37%, followed by the return of property and privatization with 29%, and taxes at 2%. The greatest number of audits has been conducted in the local units at 29%, followed by audits of the ministries and central institutions at 16%, audits of the tax and customs departments at 8%, audits of financial institutions at 9%, and external funding projects at 5%. The Socialist MP Erion Brache supports the idea that the mandate of the party chairman should be reconfirmed when his party wins the elections and rules the country. In an interview for Aura News, Mr. Brache said that changes to the statutes could bring the debate about the leader of the party to an end. When asked about the possibility of the Socialist MP Ben Blouchi running for the post of chairman, Mr. Brache had this to say: "It is normal for everyone to aspire to be a candidate." When asked whether the critical words of Mr. Blouchi have damaged his party's governance, he replied, Excuse my cough, ladies and gentlemen. What is currently causing damage is populism, which is hurting the left-wing party. Mr. Brache says that 2016 will be an important year for the realization of reforms in health, energy, education, agriculture, social protection, and the employment sector. Known for his often critical statements about ministers and other leaders, Brache says that ministers should also have to work in the field and have more daily interaction and contact with their subordinates. He feels that as long as this does not happen, there will be problems in the ministries. Prime Minister Rama made an inspection today of the Trans-Balkan Road, an investment of 364 million lek that is about to be finished. Accompanied by the director of the Albanian Development Fund, the Prime Minister announced that this investment will facilitate the movement of vehicles in the entrance of Vlora. He said, "This road needs to be the highest quality work because this is the new entrance of Vlora. Everything here should be done according to the European standards. Everything should be perfect. The sidewalks, the lights, the green spaces, and there should be trees on both sides of the road," said the Prime Minister. He considered the Trans-Balkan Road to be an investment of strategic importance for the infrastructure of the city and for the whole country. Later on, the Prime Minister also inspected the work on the port of Vlora, which will increase the attraction of the city as a touristic center. He made the following comments on the port. The port of Vlora has been thought of as a part of the Lungomare project. The project also includes a port for yachts, and the goal is to completely rehabilitate the port by the end of this year. The project also includes the construction of a square for the sale of goods and a modern terminal for travelers. Thanks to this investment, Vlora will have a modern port for the first time, said the Prime Minister. The National Inspectorate for the Protection of the Territory will be demolishing all the illegal buildings around the coastlines of the country. The Chief Inspector announced today that after an operation in Himare, the Inspectorate will be breaking down the illegal buildings in Saranda. She says that an operation in Buntrint will begin on February 1st and will continue along the coastline after the area has been studied. According to her, this operation is in response to complaints by the citizens and will make a more attractive coastline for the touristic season. The Chief Inspector also clarified an incident in Himare in which the Inspectorate employees were resisted with violence. She says that all citizens were notified according to the deadlines provided by the law. A meeting was called today by the Democratic Party to discuss Albania's environment and the primary challenges it faces. The Democratic Secretary for Environment, Mr. Maltesi, announced that pollution in the country has now reached alarming levels, endangering the green spaces. Among 23 other topics, Maltesi listed the massive pollution of the Durrës coastline, the failure to enforce the hunting moratorium, and the lack of mechanisms for monitoring air pollution. After meeting with the environmental experts, the Democratic Party will organize a number of public hearings and will come up with some final proposals for environmental intervention in March. The party has also asked for a local referendum to protect the Rainier Park area, as well as the area around Tirana Lake. That's all the news for this evening. Thank you for watching. We'll be back again on Monday with more translated news in English. Have a great weekend.